Welcome to Ilfracombe Fishing. So we're going to run a couple of rigs down for you today that I use on the Bristol channel, where I fish nearly all the time. Simplicity is the key. This is just a pennel pulley rig, pulley pennel, whichever you want to call it, and a very simple but strong, minimal fuss 2-hook flapper rig, just for scratching around. If you get a half decent fish on it, you've got a good chance of getting it in still. There's much better tutorials than mine about a plethora of fishing rigs for every occasion. I pretty much just use these two for nearly everything, so I'm not going to mess around with anything. The simple rigs, if you're out, you're fishing, you get snagged up a few times, you lose your gear, you want to be able to tie it quickly, minimal fuss. That's what I've used. Simplicity is key. So, and strength, really. I use 100-pound mono for most of the rigs, if not 80-pound, minimum 60, and that's for the lighter scratching rigs because you just don't know what's going to pick it up around here. You get a decent bass on, you'll lose it on 30-pound. It'll run you off around the rocks. Abrasion resistance is pretty bad on those lower diameter monos. So yeah, I'm going to go make a couple of rigs up just so get you going. You don't have to do what I do, you can use whatever you like. I'm not here to teach people how to fish, I'm just showing you what I do and bringing you with me. So without further ado, I'll give you a quick rundown of these two rigs. Okay, so first one up is going to be a pulley pennel rig. You can make them whatever length you want them to be. Some people make 1 foot to, I've said 7 or 8 foot, but it's basically, they're all the same, they're just the different lengths of line. So you got 2 hooks, at one end running up into a 2-way swivel, running into another length of mono that's slightly longer than the hook length, with a sliding pulley bead and a weight clip and bait holder. Now, I'm fishing the north end wall again tonight, assuming I can get on there. That's where I got the double figure PB bull huss last week. Lots of views on that video, so thanks everyone. I've had lots of lovely comments as well. It's been nice, it's been very motivating, so I'm going to get out again tonight, even though the weather ain't great. Big tides again. So I tend to run fairly short rigs. This one's about a 2-foot pulley pennel. I don't like running longer rigs than this in strong tides. You got your tide running, you got a big bait on. It's all right if you're using smaller baits, but on a big bait, whole joey or whatever, the tide's going to be pulling it, stretching it out and lifting it from the bottom. It's going to be trying to pull away. And this is just a 2-foot length of line, you know, and it's still going to be 6 or 8, 10 inches off the bottom. If you're using a 5-foot pennel rig, which a lot of people do in strong tide, I would say you could be 2 feet, 3 feet, 3 feet lifted off the bottom, and that is not going to get you as many fish, if any. If your bait is not hard fishing on the bottom, I don't think you're going to get as many bites at all. The next rig is going to be a very simple but strong 2-hook scratching rig. So I'm going to start with a length about 3 feet of 100-pound mono. And this is going to be one of the simplest rigs you could ever tie. And people might think it's strange because you've not got all the fancy finery on there like booms or crimps or all the rest of it. But I'm talking about things that I can tie in the dark with my eyes closed, in the rain, in the wind. So you've got a 2-way swivel on the top end here, 5-turn blood knot tucked. Again, this is the knot I'll use for the 100-pound mono the whole time I'm doing this. Cinch that one down. Then we're going to pop a weight clip on the bottom. It does not need to be a weight and bait clip. There shouldn't really be any need for this. You can just use a simple weight clip. It doesn't have to be anything special. I'll try and get one you can see a bit easier. Bronzy one. So it's just a simple weight clip on the bottom. It's not going to be a clip down rig. This is going to be a flowing trace. 2, 3, 4, 5, Loosen that up, get that cinched down. Again, when I first make the rigs like this and you've got a weight clip and just a swivel on there, I like to give them a good tightening down. Make sure that everything's cinched down nicely before I trim the tag ends off. 1, 2. Right, now this is the surprisingly easy bit, which again, I've not lost any fish like this from it being tangled or twisted. You know, the fishes spin, they don't, you know, the swivels lock up, so you don't have to always use swivels in between every bit of line. Again, this is for me to tie in the dark, in a hurry if I need to, you know, in bad conditions. I'm not looking for lots of jewellery on it or anything. This is just going to be a two hook heavy duty flapper rig. So all I'm going to actually do is just make an overhand loop somewhere near the bottom. So that's just both bits of line, like an overhand loop, just making a loop. Now that's not going to hold much at the moment, but when we tie the hook length through it and pull it tight, it's quite well cinched down then, and it's not going to go anywhere. Moving up, further up near the top, I'll tie another overhand loop. So all I'm doing is just pinching the line, pushing it together, and then just over and under through itself, just making a very, very simple loop in the line. It doesn't have to hold any particular weight at the moment. Next, I'll be using some slightly lighter line for this. So this is £60. And through the first top loop, I'll run the £60. On a 5 turn, maybe a 6 turn on a £60. 6 turn tuck blood knot. Right, now as this hook length is tied to this loop that we put in the line earlier, all I'm going to do is just lubricate that loop slightly and just cinch that one down, pull it tight. Now we can trim the tag ends. I'll pop a hook on this one and we'll do the other one quickly and with there. So again, I might use a smaller hook than this normally. I'll grab another hook. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. So we've got some 4/0s here. Now the bait I'll be presenting on these would be a small wrap of squid and maybe some sort of fish bait like bluey. Single hook, single 4/0. Six turn tuck blood knot for the hook, same as the other bit on this one. We're just going an extra turn because it's £60, although it's thick 60 this. Trim that tag end down. Same on the lower part. 10-12 inches of mono, £60. We're going to lose a bit on the knots. 6 turn tuck blood knot. You can do more turns than that if you need it. With this particular line, it's thicker than it's a trilene big game, the £60 knot I'm using, and it's pretty thick, tough stuff. Again, so there's your hook length tied on. Lubricate the loop, the overhand loop we made earlier on, and just slowly pull that tight. It creates a small standoff loop, and it also is a good connection for here. The hook length, put another 4/0 on there. Like I say, you don't have to follow what I do. I have plenty of fish with these. I'm happy enough with them. Other people could probably show you much more complicated or interesting or even better working rigs. I've just shown you. Someone asked what I'm fishing with, so pulley panels, like I showed you earlier, and on another rod I'll use slightly lighter gear, and I will run a 2 hook. I don't know if you can see it very well, but there's your 2 hook sort of heavy duty rig, £100 on the main length, and then £60 on the hook length. The £60 gives the bait a little bit better movement than the £100. It's a bit stiff with the 100. So with the £60, it just gives the bait a little bit more motion in a bit of tide, but it stays well pinned. So yeah, obviously you would normally use a grip lead with these in these strong tides. So completed rig is a lead clip, a weight, your lead clip, £100 mono, your overhand loops, creating standoff loops for your £60, maybe 4/0 hooks. That's what I normally use, something like that. Going up to your second overhand loop and hook length, going up to a 2-way swivel. That is literally it. I can tie those rigs, both of those, in within about a minute and a half on the shore. And they work well. Obviously, they're tried and tested types of rig. If you want to go and check out, there's so many great channels out there with other rig tutorials. But people asked what I'm using. It is a fishing sort of based channel, so you can see what I'm using. That's pretty much it. Those 2 rigs there, the pulley panel of varying different lengths depending if it's a small tide or a big tide, and a 2 hook, simple but heavy duty 2 hook flapper rig. I'll use those for 99% of my fishing. Well, thanks for watching. Hope that helps a little bit in case you needed to know. There's a lot of resources out there. I highly recommend going and checking out lots of other channels for some really in-depth tutorials on rigs. But I'll be going fishing shortly, so I just want to make a quick vid. Enjoy. I will catch up with you later from the shore.